Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Barbie Talks. I am your real and raw Barbie, giving you everything real and raw, and I am here to give us a fun episode. Of course, we have no outline, of course, but yeah, I don't know where I'm gonna start this episode because very transparently, I've been mentally going through it. I don't know how many people. I literally told myself I'm not even gonna say this because I don't want to come off that way. But I don't even know if I don't even know if people are listening. And with everything that I teach, or I don't even want to say teach, I don't even want to say teach because I feel like that insinuates that like people are subordinates or like, I think I'm above. But just the things and my thoughts and like any advice I try to give in this very different perspective, it's hard. It's very hard. And living in that, living in that isn't hard because I tell you guys all the time, this isn't a trying process. It is your ego that makes it a trying process. And since I've been home, it has definitely been test after test and learning that you have to really make yourself unfreaking comfortable to really get what you desire and what you want is such a tough thing because you can choose comfort, we can choose our old life, we can choose to remain stagnant in life and just deal with the cards that have been dealt with us. And the real challenge comes in when you do challenge that and when you do want more. But there's really no but. The but is it's very difficult. I can't emphasize why I always tell you guys to give yourself grace. And I really do hope that there are people listening. I can tell with a lot of my friends and family that they don't listen to my podcast at all, and it's very heartbreaking because they'll try to say things to me and I'm like, I had a whole episode on this, or this is what I talk about. So I say that to say, when you are going through this process and this transformation, it is going to be very challenging because you are genuinely shedding skin, and this is a skin that everybody was comfortable with, you were comfortable with, that it's embedded in you, and it's stuck on your skin, and people only see you this way, people only refer to you this way, people only acknowledge you in this way, and it's hard. That's why giving yourself grace throughout this process and understanding that your life is a mirror from within, and being very transparent with your limiting beliefs and being candid with yourself about where you are is very imperative, because you can get lost and sucked back in. For the past month that I've been home, I have not worked out. Everything feels like I hit a complete reset button, and in the worst way possible. And this morning I just was so sad, because so sad on so many facets, so many levels, but it is a part of the process. It is still a part of the process. There's many people that go through this self-transformation and, trying to become their best self and live in the end state and all of these things. And they go through this as well, which is, once again, it's imperative to give yourself grace, because no one can tell you how this process is going to go for you, right? I have over 20 episodes of giving you guys advice, segments, people to read, books to read, things that I found out, topics that I'm learning in class. But the one thing I cannot teach you is how to go through that process. The one thing I can't even give you is physically being there with you while you shed this skin, because it's a very mental battle. Rewiring your brain, showing up in a different form, dealing with other people's perceptions of you, dealing with your old life combining with your new life, forcing yourself to live in this end state even if your physical reality is not matching with it. It is a very, it's like, it's a catch-22, because everything I say is completely true, completely real, and I stand on that a million times. I'm never going to waver from anything that I say to you guys, but at the same token of time, understanding that this is a really mental battle for you personally. So we are all going to go through our mental battles with having this new life, shifting into this new persona, shifting into this new energy, and shifting into who you are meant to be. Comes with its mental battles. It's really like Socrates' story. How bad do you want the new life? Are you willing to fight for it every day? Are you willing to sacrifice for it every day? Are you willing to even look crazy to some people every single day for you to get that desired result that you know you deserve, that I know you deserve? For me, I was trying not to get emotional. Because I really don't want to be emotional this episode, and this is kind of just like a little bit of an update slash kind of just some thoughts before we get into the actual topics. This is not the actual topic of the episode. Putting yourself in an environment that is very countering of what you are believing in and what you're doing is challenging. I legit said to myself, I think it was either this morning or yesterday, I was like, wow, like I was going so good with the gym. Everything was so good, right, when I was at school, and everything felt so promising, and to come home and it felt so dark and felt so smothering. It was really hard. It is really hard. I knew this was going to be hard, and I said to myself, if I can manage this and fix the relationships here and grow here, that I know I can be successful. But I think the error with that statement was me correlating that with my success and not realizing how that was also a sacrifice to my success. Because with that comes, I haven't been posting on my Instagram, I haven't been posting on my TikTok. Mentally, I'm drained. I have no energy to even edit and do things. It feels so dreary. It feels like I am back in that state. And then on top of that, I've had so many crazy things of the omniscient spirit that we will not name trying to pull me back into that old life, pull me back into that old being, and pull me into darkness. And legit, you guys, while I was starting to film, my whole light bracket, this is not the actual one that broke, my whole light bracket broke completely as I was setting up to film, and I held back my tears because I didn't want it to win. A lot of people don't like this statement, but it is true. You know, you can choose if you have a good or bad day. You can choose where you put your energy to, and you can choose how you will show up for your day. And that's the biggest thing that being at home taught me, because it is very easy to choose the negative way, to be upset, to be angry. And there's just things to be upset and angry about, but you still can choose better. You still can choose to look at the glass half full. You still can choose being better and bigger. So, this kind of whole intro was just giving you guys a bit of a peek of what has been happening. Obviously, it was super short, and if you want to know more about my life, go to my actual YouTube channel, because as you guys see, we have our own Barbie Talks YouTube channel. So I'm super excited to curate a community specifically for this and give you guys the option, if you want to know more about my life and see more about my life and see more personal things and more of like my fun part, you can go to the Brown Barbie. But let's just get into today's topic. With everything that I've said in the beginning of this video, understanding this pedestal, right? We don't understand it, but subconsciously as humans, we place people on this pedestal in good and bad ways. This pedestal of how they should show up for us. This pedestal if they're out of our league, in our league. This pedestal of this person's amazing, this person's great. Or this pedestal that, oh, this person will never amount to anything because of X, Y, and Z. You have to understand your life will very much correlate to the pedestal you put people on and the pedestal you put yourself on. With the pedestal you put people on, it's mind effy. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It is all based on your own limiting beliefs, your past experiences, negative thoughts you have, positive thoughts, how you were raised, your culture, how you perceive societal perceptions of people, how things work, all of these things of how society kind of curates this life that they try to project onto us. It's all dependent on how you interpret that. So, if that's dependent on how you are interpreting your life, and you are putting these people on invalid pedestals where they may or may not belong, can we essentially even more emphasize how we are shaping our own life and emphasize the theory more of life is a mirror from within? Example. There are so many things, people, examples I could explain to y'all about putting people on a pedestal, but I'll give you guys two. I'll give you guys an example of when I didn't put myself at a higher pedestal, an example of when I put somebody else at a higher pedestal, even still aligning with my own worth and value and how that's resulted. So with my first example, with my first friend, I have this friend where I put her at a higher pedestal than she put herself at. I seen so much of her potential, her worth, her value, what she can contribute to this world, and what she deserves. And I always had it at such a higher point than she had it for herself, which in a result led to, I don't want to say unfortunate circumstances, but led to something that may have been prevented if her pedestal of herself, her self-belief, her self-concept, and her thought of how she contributes to this world and how she shows up to this world was different. And it is such a sad thing when, just stay with me with this one, because I'm gonna get y'all with this one, and I'm gonna clock us all that are not living in our potential and our worth and our value. So it's such a pedestal, lol. It's such a crazy thing, right? When you see someone's worth, value, what they can do, you see their potential, and you're like, hey, come on, like, let's do this, like, let's level up, let's do this, and they don't. It's such a sad thing that you feel when you remove your own personal beliefs about it, and your own ego, and any, like, oh, you should do this kind of mentality, and you just look at it very objectively, like, wow, this person is so deep in a hole of they don't see their worth and value, and they have allowed their limiting beliefs to take over their life, that they don't even see that they're actually in the driver's seat, and that they have the control, but they have to understand that they are valuable, that they are worth something, that they can do something. And it's sad, right? But then when we flip the script on our own self and we don't see our own worth and value, and we don't see what we bring to the world and the community and the things that we can and cannot do, we don't see it as equally sad. We self-deprecate ourselves. We emphasize this belief that we can't do anything besides the life, the things that the circumstances that have been given in our life. We really subject ourselves to this nasty and low place, but yet with others we are so able to see their potential and their worth. And it's a crazy psychological thing because we are able to identify the strengths and weaknesses in other people and really support them and be there for them. But when it comes to us, it's something we lack. So with this other scenario, we'll call this person Marcos. I want to say in the moment, I didn't realize the pedestal I had put him on. But now reflecting back, I realized once again, I put someone at a higher pedestal than I put myself at. And you should never do that. With Marcos, we had a very cool relationship. It was very fun. He always refers to me as fun, all this stuff. And I didn't really realize it at the time, but he was really telling me my role in his life and also the pedestal he put me on. And in correlation to that, since I put him at such a high pedestal in my head, and not even intentionally, just, oh my God, this is a man who is this, he's checking these boxes, he's doing this, like, he is great, or this is great, or this can be something. I allowed that to just cloud my judgment of the obvious thing of what my role was in his life, which was just a fun girl, someone that he wouldn't really take serious, somebody that wasn't really in his foreseeable future of even keeping connection with and just being a plain friend. And last night I had seen who he was dealing with, and I realized not only one, that he probably has a thing for black women, and it kind of was just, I refer to it as like, okay, you're just collecting infinity stones, because me and this person look absolutely nothing alike, but the thing we have in common is our skin color and our ethnicity. And then with that realization, it was just like a whoa. You put him at such a high pedestal, kind of almost thinking that he was out of your league, and not out of my league, and that I couldn't have that person, but we correlate finances and where somebody is at in life to, oh, they're better than me, so they're at a higher place than me. And I feel like I subconsciously did that. And when I seen that, and I just seen a little bit of like an update of like what he was doing, I was like, oh my God, I'm the one that was out of his league, because I am absolutely drop dead gorgeous. I have so much going for me. I'm a hustler. I'm very ambitious, and all of these super positive traits about myself that I actually push down, all because of something so little that really has no correlation. Finances and where someone is at life really doesn't define the pedestal you should put them at, right? So if I was thinking of myself at a higher pedestal in that moment, I may not have even seen him again, or I may not even have entertained talking to him, or I may not even had thought of anything long term, kind of. I hope that makes sense. And when I realized that I was the one that was out of his league, and that I was the one that put him at a completely higher pedestal than he did for me, it made me realize you cannot do that again. When you place someone at a higher pedestal that then they view themselves or that they put you at, you immediately put an imbalance to the relationship, even if you don't realize it or not. You never, ever, 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 ever. I don't care if this person's a millionaire. I don't care if this person has status. I don't care if this person seems like they're doing better than you in life. It really doesn't matter. You never put yourself on a lower pedestal than someone is interpreting you at. And even if you don't know what pedestal they're putting you at, you always have yourself high. So I'm going to put a quick pin in this and just emphasize, I hope you guys get when I'm saying pedestal, think of the hierarchy. We know the hierarchy system, or in a simpler term, basically your value. The value someone sees that you bring, I don't even like saying bring to the table because I just don't care for that statement, but the value they think that you bring to them and what they see your worth as a person. That's the pedestal that I keep referring to. So now having that clarification, we see the pedestal we'll put other people at, and the pedestal we put ourselves at correlates with our self-worth. I know people don't like when I say this, but it's you. It is you. Everything is always tying back to your worth, your value. How do you think you show up in this world? Do you think of yourself valuable? How strong are your limiting beliefs? All of these things you have to work on if you want to receive the benefits of this life. People see people like Lori Harvey, Rihanna, Angelina Jolie, any powerful male figures, and they're like, oh my god, how are they this way, or I wish I was this. It's not really crazy. They know their worth and value, and they are always putting themselves at a high pedestal. And when you start to put yourself at this high pedestal off rip from the very beginning, people have no choice to either match that with how they treat you, or they're naturally just going to leave because they cannot even amount to that kind of energy, and they can't even fathom having someone in their presence with that strong of an energy and that much security in themselves to put themselves at that high of a pedestal. Never undersell yourself. You never have to undersell yourself for instant gratification, for instant love, for instant anything. Selling yourself short is really the quickest way to really sell yourself short in life. If you are at a point in your life where you feel like you deserve more, you deserve better, and things aren't moving your way, you are 9 out of 10 times selling yourself short somewhere. Example with me, I'm selling myself short by not showing up for myself, by not waking up early, by not going to the gym, by not put the things that I'm pushing off, not just doing. Those things add up, right? Those things in the moment may say, oh, I'll just sleep in, or oh, I'll just do this, or oh, I can just talk to this person just this time, even though there's one red flag, one boundary that I really don't want to tether away from, but they're attractive, or they have a lot of money, or they have when you do that, you instantly to yourself bring down your worth. No ifs, ands, or buts. Anytime you settle, you give in, you lower your worth, lower your pedestal meter for yourself, you instantly just told yourself, like, hey, I don't really trust you. I don't trust what you think you're worth, and I don't even think we're worth this, or else I wouldn't have accepted it. The biggest thing that I hate is a strong word. The biggest thing that I don't really like is, especially with Lori Harvey, we'll use this as an example for today. Everyone's like, oh my god, how is Lori Harvey having all of these men wrapped around her finger? And you don't know really nothing about Lori Harvey. You don't know anything about her intimately, how she is intimately. You don't know anything about how she functions in her relationship. We just know of Lori Harvey and this powerful magnetic energy that she brings. And I really dislike when women are like, I want to be like her. How did she get like that? And for one, act like a woman, think like a man. That's one. Her dad literally wrote a book telling women how to stand in their worth and value, but also ensure that they are staying in their feminine energy. Are you guys understanding that? That's just one. So even, and the book is free to everybody. The book is free. You can get an online PDF, or you can buy the book if you want the tangible book, or whatever you need. The book is accessible. So that's already the first thing that rubs me the wrong way, because You can literally read the book on her values that were instilled into her at such a young age. And besides that very obvious point that people fail to bring up, it's nothing but knowing your worth and value. And this is symmetrical with men and women. It is nothing but knowing your worth and value. It is nothing crazy happening. No one's doing any crazy voodoo magic. Like, if you know you are worth this, you stand in that, and whoever aligns with that is literally going to stand by you. And if they don't stand by you, then you move on. So back to our pedestal conversation, always put yourself at a high pedestal. You are the only one losing in this lifetime, and just in general, by lowering your pedestal or kind of negotiating your pedestal to get that instant gratification or get what you want in the moment. That does not matter. You are the one that's going to be with you. You are the one that's going to have to deal with your traumas, your issues that may come from this situation. You are the one that puts yourself together. You are the one that knows everything you went through. It is not anyone's job to validate you, make you happy, make you feel like, oh my God, I deserve to be at the top of the pedestal. It is you. That's your job. That is the best thing you can do for yourself, is put yourself at this pedestal, stay by that, align your boundaries so strong and so hard that you are only attracting people that are in alignment with that and know how to treat you. You don't have to settle in this life. There's going to be times where you may have to do something you don't like, in terms of maybe work a job that you don't like, so you get whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I still kind of don't even really believe in that. But there are going to be times where you are the only one who knows what is a settling and what is a sacrifice. I'm going to say that again. You are the only person in this life that knows what decision is a settling decision or a sacrifice. Those are two different things that we constantly confuse. We think that we're sacrificing when we settle. Settle for a man or woman that doesn't respect, doesn't love us, but they're doing something that we need in that moment. Or we think that we're actually settling if it's a sacrifice to work an extra shift. All of these kind of things that I don't even want to fully get into, because once again, it's very subjective. One thing that is a sacrifice for me may be settling for you. One thing that is settling for me may be a sacrifice for others. So once again, very subjective. Going back to, you don't lower your worth for anybody or anything. It is not anybody's job, place, and even they literally can't tell you what your worth is, because our life is subjective. Our world is subjective. What works for one won't work for another. What is a sacrifice for others is a blessing for others. There's no one in this world that can label your worth and value and tell you if you are right or wrong about it. But there are people in this world that when you set that number, when you set that tone, when you set that energy, they will meet you there and some. So once again, you are the only one in this life losing by settling and not knowing your worth and value. You are delaying that door, that opportunity, that true love, that happiness by settling and not knowing your worth and value. That is going to lead you to a very miserable life. You are only, think about it. Think about this. You are only upset when something doesn't go your way. You are only upset when someone is not valuing you. You are only upset when you feel like you have done something wrong. What do all three of those things tie back to? knowing your worth, knowing if, okay, if this made me upset because I know I deserve better, or I'm upset because I know I should have did it. It's all back to you. So can we brainstorm if possibly we lived in our worth and value every single day and we stepped into that energy all the time, what would our life look like? What would our life look like if we did that all of the time? So we have reached our midpoint, of course, and I don't know what today's tell the truth question is, but I would just say reflect on what are you truly measuring your value at. Are you measuring your value at the view of others? Are you valuing your value at what has happened in your past? Are you valuing your value on what you think you can't do because you are looking through your life with blurred lenses? Putting yourself at a higher pedestal and not wavering from that is going to be tough. Only tough, actually, no, I recant. It'll only be tough if you want it to be tough. If you really feel like you are lying to yourself and you feel like this is really oh, I'm really not, then you really have to evaluate what is making you feel that way. Because we all are so unique in our own ways. We bring so much to this world, and no one really has to question what their value is. This is what you want to be valued, okay, that's fine. And when we live in what we think our value is, whether that's high or low, we see that people are attracted to that. So it's okay, if you are putting yourself at such a low value and you still attracted people, why do you feel like you can't attract that at a higher level? I know for me personally, that's something that I had to really grow to learn of. Okay, if we can do it in the negative way, we can do it in the positive way. If I'm attracting people when I'm self-deprecating and I'm really nasty, really negative, then why can't I attract people when I'm in higher spirits, knowing my value and aligned with what I know I'm worth? It's just everything's based out of fear, and we know fear, false evidence appearing real. No one can tell you your worth and your value. No one can tell you what you do and do not bring to the table. No one can tell you, measure your worth and say if it's just or not. So the biggest thing to really take from this episode is no one can label you. Label yourself. Already label yourself on how you know you're going to show up for this world. Label yourself with what you know you are worth. Label yourself with your value. Label yourself with how you want the world to treat you. And then with that label, you'll know how to show up in this world. You know what you do and do not need to do. That's it. Don't allow anyone to make you feel small or less than, because people are dealing with their own things and they will project and reflect that onto you to try to minimize your value and worth. So don't allow that to really get in your head, because then you're just going to keep running this rat race and you'll never know your worth and your value. You'll always be miserable and sad. And we want to be thriving, happy, enjoying life, and receiving the fruits of our labor as we should. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. In the beginning of the episode, I was getting a little emotional because it is kind of hard to do this thing and know if people are actually listening, caring what I'm saying. Definitely a very big thing that has me anxious is just how do I go from here? I really want to bring some guests on, but I'm very, very picky about my guests. Pickier than the pickiest person because this for me is very important, and I also want to ensure anytime that you guys are listening, I'm so valuable of your time, I'm so valuable that you are even listening, that I want to ensure that I am bringing knowledge and value to you. I don't want to ever bring a guest on that's messy, nasty, or anything like that. I really want this to be a space where you are hearing people's story and it's contributing. Like, you are listening to this and you're taking at least something from this in your day. You know, we have a lot of lighthearted, fun content, and even this can still be, in a sense, lighthearted, fun content. You know, going on this journey doesn't have to be so serious, doesn't have to be so, has to go this way. You can enjoy it. It can be lighthearted. You can take it in the way you do, and, you know, maybe this is just something that interests you. You like to hear other people's opinions, so maybe this is just like your form of entertainment. But, you know, I do just want to ensure, as serious as I am and intentional as I am with what I'm putting out to you guys, that any guest coming on is the same way. Although I don't always have outlines and certain things, and we haven't done our book yet, it's never out of a place of me just talking to talk. Like, I literally enjoy filming what I'm called to talk about, because in my eyes, somebody who's listening needs to hear that. Or I need to reiterate it for myself, or I need to push that message out into the world. So for me, that's why I enjoy sometimes not having an outline. And for me personally, it helps it flow better for me. With an outline, I feel like it kind of limits me a bit, and then I always naturally just get off track. So I hope you guys see how intentional I'm being, how much I value your time, how much I value you tuning into this. So thank you so much. Of course, the links for everything will be down below. I really want to start getting going on this Patreon. It is free right now. I know me right now, mentally, I can use the Patreon. So if you guys can go on the Patreon so we can get this going, I would love that. But all of the links for everything is down below. Please subscribe to the Barbie Talks YouTube channel so we can get that community growing. And of course, you can follow all my personal socials at The Brown Barbie. And thank you guys so much, and have a blessed day. Stand on your pedestal. Stand on your worth. Okay? Because can't nobody tell you what it is or is not. Bye, guys.